Paul was so happy about Xbox Game Pass family news that he moved.
Oh, I thought you were
Actually,
saying you were. Yeah, I saw the news. I was like, yes, and then like, oh, they all they did was go official in what, like Canada and
no, not even Canada, uh, Colombia, and
oh,
Ireland. So
sorry, I confused Colombia and Canada.
yeah.
Similar.
So for those who don't stare at web pages, what the Microsoft didn't really announce this. It was just kind of like they started piloting it in Ireland and Colombia, and so they had to put a web page up. And as of right now, at least if they go with Irish pricing, or which would I guess be Euro pricing, which is almost 1-to-1 anyways, it's like $21 a month for up to 5 people, and they don't have to be your family members. They just have to live in the same country effectively.
That's a good deal
Yeah.
because you because what, Paul? A Game Pass Ultimate is what, 14.99 a month,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the normal one's a 9.99. So
Yep.
yeah, with 20.99, 21.99, that makes sense.
I figured it would have been like $29.99. That would have been my guess if you're holding a Nerf gun to my head.
You have two people that you want on this thing, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seems like a good deal.
Yeah. There are some limitations everyone should be aware. Like you can only move in and out so many times. I think it's 8 times total per year, and one individual can come like in and out of so many accounts. So it's not like you can just like ping pong around forever. You kind of got to stay there, but still, I think it's reasonable.
I agree.
Other things that are not reasonable threat. Halo Infinite.
I yeah. Okay, so well, first explain what happened.
Yeah.
Um,
So they dropped their roadmap, and
but by the way, dropped it, broke it, tried to put it back together,
yeah,
didn't get all the pieces.
so they're see. It's weird because in November there's stuff dropping, but it's not season 3. Season 3 will not start until March, but in November you'll get 2 new maps. I think we're gonna get potentially in November. I want to say Forge because it just says November to March, and then but it's not season 3. It's like season 2.5 or a continuation of season 2 or just something else. And then season 3 will happen in March and will last 3 months from March to June.
Sure, it will. You know, so you'll probably remember this better than me, but aside from the fact that this game was supposed to come out 2 years ago, which is so laughable, given the way
Mm-hmm.
the world has gone. It's so bright over there. Their initial plan for seasons was really aggressive. Wasn't it supposed to be like 3 month seasons? And the first one was going to take 6 months because we just shipped the game and everything, and that makes sense. And then it's like, guys, maybe this plan is never going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that they're still saying, oh, okay, well, a year and a half after we initially launched this thing, we're going to get to that 3 month season thing we were talking about. Just don't be so aggressive. Or don't you're not going to be that aggressive. You can't do it. So just don't even
But
stop saying
wait,
you're going to.
there's more. So
Sorry.
co-op, which was
Yeah.
going to launch in August, is now launching in November, and that's network co-op only. If you want to sit on your couch and play with your child, they have old Gellard that features. That is never coming. They were never doing local co-op.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So there's a part of me that wants to be outraged by that, and I think the only thing that's truly outrageous about it is related to what I just said, which is that they've just been talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, okay, we're not going to do it. Like I don't. I know people will argue with this, but I don't really think there's much of a case these days for same screen co-op. Like this thing where you used to have like a split screen on an Xbox 360 with like 4 or 2 people, and you'd always do it like it was never really co-op. It was like multiplayer, and you'd be hitting each other because obviously the other person was looking at your screen and blah 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 whatever. I sort of feel like that's just
I
old
don't know.
fashioned. I know, no,
The only
I know.
reason I say that is
Because you have a kid and you can
I'm the
imagine
opposite.
sitting.
Like, we play Minecraft
Yeah.
Dungeons, we played Cat Quest. I'm annoyed that we can't play Fall Guys.
I feel like, okay, let me, right. And I know that I knew that would be the argument, but maybe the way to say it that won't make too many people upset is for this kind of game. Like,
Sure.
this is an action shooter. Uh, Having, well, you've done this, right? I mean, you do this now with online, but I've sat in a house with 12 other guys all in the same network playing online against other people, and it's fun, and you can
Hmm.
talk to each other, and that kind of stuff is fun. Early on in that experience, and this is many, this is 12, 15 years ago, whatever. Some of those people were playing on the same Xbox because that's what was that's what we had back then, and it's just not. I just feel like the way the world has evolved, like everyone's going to have their own device, and increasingly because of the way that Xbox, the platform is, that device could be a tablet, a PC screen, because you're just streaming it anyway. And I don't know. I just don't feel like that's necessary for this kind of game. I completely agree in the parent-child or multiple children situation, like a game that might be on a Nintendo or just a kids game in general on any platform. Yeah, of course. I mean, but I just think for Halo that they should have just been honest with this up front and looked at it and said, yeah, it's 2020 whatever now, depending on how you want to look at it. And this kind of thing just doesn't make sense for Halo.
Trying
And
to figure out why these fans are running at whatever speed.
I think it's because you're running a service.
Well, we're on better performance. Maybe we should just go to recommended.
There you go. And then your audio will cut out. And
Well, no, it's not running up with this one. Thankfully, that would be even worse. I don't trust laptops to power
yeah,
podcasts as best of my ability. So, anyways, if that wasn't all confusing enough, USB 4 is going to solve all of our problems. Version 2 of USB 4 is going to solve all the problems we didn't even know existed.
well, I appreciate their doubling capacity again, right? 40 gigabits to 80. Great. It will work with previous gen cables, by the way. Also
Mm-hmm.
great. Someone needs to help them a little bit with the names. Like, it's like USB 4 version 2. Are you serious? Like what? I don't know.
Well, they butchered
They don't.
version 3 pretty well. So,
Oh yeah, no, I know. And now they're going to do it to version 4 in a completely different way. We had 3.1, 3.2, and then we had Gen 3.2, Gen something. I don't know
mm-hmm.
what we're up to 3. So I they make Microsoft's branding department look like a coherent, you know,
Mm-hmm.
years long strategy that makes sense. I don't know, whatever. So whatever.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
then Thunderbolt is an Intel thing, is that
yep.
right? So Thunderbolt 4 and USB 4 are the same,
Mm-hmm.
roughly, you know.
Didn't
Although
Intel open source Thunderbolt or something, or give it? I know it's
I don't
theirs, but I feel like they gave it away or something.
Yeah. So one of the things and I'm away this weekend, but I've been meaning to test this is if you have an AMD based system with USB 4, could you use it with a Thunderbolt 4 dock? I don't know.
Science
I
doesn't know the answer to that question throughout, and they never will.
Yeah, I know. This is like a particle collider issue or something. Somewhere in Geneva, someone's going to figure this out. But anyway, going forward, so now USB 4 temporarily is, or will soon be, I guess next year, be twice as fast as the fastest Thunderbolt. But I think it's reasonable to expect a Thunderbolt 5 that will probably be the same thing. Can you imagine a
I,
world in which they tried to leapfrog USB instead? Like, Thunderbolt 5 will be like 120 gigabits or something. Like,
I,
I don't know.
I mean, Thunderbolt 4. USB 4 is going to take somewhere between 9 and 38 years to get standardized on every laptop. And by that point, we'll be on USB 7.
First of all, that will never happen. You got to remember back in the full size USB port days, like they used to have different color ports
Mm-hmm.
because there were different versions of USB. We have exactly this problem now. Like you could have in fact, well, I only have one version of this I can think of, but you could in the future have a laptop with three different types of USB-C ports on there potentially, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't remember which. It's not this one. I can't remember which laptop, but one of the laptops I got in has two Thunderbolt 4/USB 4 ports, is how it's described. So I guess they're the same. And then it has one USB-C port that's not that. It's like a USB-C 3.2 something something. I don't know what it is. Probably 20 gigabits. And are we really going to do this to people? This is how we're going to treat our customers.
Nobody knows.
Same for it. You have to kind of look at it closely and see what the little inscription says. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Remember when we used to have multiple ports and we all thought USB was going to be the savior because we had a VGA, we had a PC,
Right.
we had all these different ports on the back of the computer, PS2, and it's like, all right, USB is going to make this easy to understand, just one plug. Yep, here we are again.
And most computers that I review still come with USB-C and USB-A.
Yep.
HDMI out. We seriously have not solved this issue. You can't just. Why wouldn't you use USB-C for? It's crazy. Like I don't know. This is just. And then you don't
Here we
know what
are.
each one. You're plugging and unplugging and trying to figure out which one does what. Stupid.
Yep. Well, it at least is a holiday weekend here in the U.S., so we've got extra time to think about our USB conundrums all over the weekend.
That's right. And so we're not going to be doing Monday, I assume. Monday.
You can show up on Monday.
Well,
Just wait.
I'll
Just
be
keep
showing
waiting. The
up.
call's coming throughout.
Okay. I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
I sit, I get ready, I put on my headphones. Usually
Just
call it a
all
certain
amped
time.
up.
Yep. And then like 3 minutes after 9, I'm like, man, it's weird that. Oh, right.
I will tell you
Let's-
something that is exciting that's coming this week into my house. I ordered I ordered a new outdoor antenna, which this is way more exciting than it should be. So I have a problem receiving CBS, which is where most of the football games are
You have
on
to
that I
back
want to
up a
watch.
second. You're an HD TV antenna, like you do like an over-the-air
Oh
thing.
yeah, like stand outside in the rainstorm, sort of have an antenna thing.
Did you time travel here from the 1950s? What are you doing?
No. Look, it comes into my house, then it goes into a box called an HD home run, and then it pushes it to the Apple TV. So it's perfect, with one minor exception. I've always had trouble getting reception for CBS, and I finally looked up. Like you can go to like a website, it's like antennas.org or whatever, it's a government website, and says like all the things that you can receive with rabbit ears outside. And I'm going to screw this up, but all the stations that come in perfectly crystal clear, I think, are UHF signal. And CBS is like high V, is the frequency that they broadcast on. It's the only one that I have issues with. So I got a better antenna that is supposed to be better for, I think, that particular band. And so I'm going to rig that one up
How big is
outside.
this thing? How big is this antenna?
Oh,
that you already have?
well, I should. This is careful because I've only seen it on Amazon. But you got to understand, I also have, because I'm a nerd, a weather thing outside out on a pole,
okay.
like which I've talked about. And so what I'm going to do is I got one that can mount to that pole, and then whatever. But I think it's like I think it's only like whatever.
I
it
was
is.
your neighbor. I'd be walking the dog by your house one day, and I'd be like, "So, what's going on with that stuff on your house?"
Well, fortunately,
What-
you can't see it from the street. That was one of my wife's requirements when I was like, I gotta, because the weather thing has to be so far up off the roof line, otherwise it gets impacted by the radiant heat from the shingles and just wind currents. So it's like a good 4.5 feet above my roof line, but you can't see it from the street because we live up on a hill and whatever. That was a spousal requirement.
Well, right.
It's a good antenna throughout.